Hi guys, welcome to my channel. This is my third mini videos of this series. This series is aimed for creating gallery system including many cards by using Unity and C#script. In the previous two videos, we have shown you how to use Unity UI elements and C#script to edit our first card game object. In this tutorial, we will have a look at how to edit the background image to our card. Then we want to make one flexible function which allows us to create and edit more than one card. I will also link all of the assets we are using in this video in the description box, so you can grab them and check them out for yourself. Now, keep in mind that there are several different ways of creating one card, and my methods might not be the best method for you. It's just one method I'm used to use, and it's efficient for me. So, such methods can offer another ideas for your learning. Hopefully, in the next 10 minutes, you can learn a lot of C# scripts that you can start to use in your daily creation. Okay, let's get started. In previous video, we have used custom class script and the card display C# script to complete our first card. All card information has been shown public on the right inspector. By the way, inside the card display script, we use array to store a collection of the card type together. Since I'm going to create more than one card in this tutorial, so let's try to change the length of this array. In here, we want to get 3 elements of the array. Then we have to spend half minutes editing them. I randomly import some existing card information to here. Okay, after editing on Inspector, I'm going to finish one of my personnel token in Visual Studio. We want to add one character background image to our card. Adding one background image is improve our graphics and looks more professional. In card script, we create one sprite type variable to identify our image, which should be imported as sprite type for our card. Sprite represents a sprite object for use in 2D gameplay. In card display, create one new image variable called card background image to hold a reference to the UI image component on our UI image game object. Inside awake function, we assign the card detail card image to our card UI image source. Write card background image dot sprite equals cards 0 dot card background. Image.sprite returns the source sprite of an image. This can be used to change the sprite. And then bend to Unity and click on the Card Manager game object. Drag the background image into our first card background image slot. Don't forget to drag the background UI image into our corresponding references. When you press play, you will receive one card background image behind our card character. But the size is not what we want. You can try to uncheck the preserve aspects to test which resolution is better for your card. In many card games, you can only see one part of the image through our card. The original card image is bigger than what you think. You can try to uncheck the preserve aspects or drag the handles or edges of the blue rectangular to resize it around a specified element. Our point is makes our background image can view with the right resolution and fulfill the whole empty space in our card. So don't worry which method is better one, it all depends on your background images. Alright, let's finish our main task of our tutorial. We want to create more than one card game object in our game. So let's create one new folder called Prefab and drag our entire card game object from hierarchy window into the Prefab folder. The game object and its all components and child game objects becomes a new asset in your project window. Prefab assets in the project window are shown with the blue cube prefab icon or thumbnail view of the game object. The prefab assets acts as a template from which you can create a new prefab instance in the scene. Okay, after understanding the concept of the prefabs, let's select our card game object in the hierarchy and hold Command D or Control D to duplicate our card game object. Drag the second card on the right side. Now we have two cards. When we enter the play mode, we can see only our first card active. The main reason is that in card display code, we type cards 0, which means the first index element of our card array. We build our first card in our game. If we type cards 1, we can assume that we can get the second card and its information. But if we have 100 cards, shall we type 100 times bunch of codes here? Of course not. We need to iterate over our card information. So first, remove our previous code and command them. In here, we have to iterate over card. Looping or repeating is often referred to iterating. Loop in programming are a way to repeat lines of code. This is actually for loop which use the following syntax. We start with the keyword for, then in parentheses, we have three specific sections. The first section is optional and gives us a place to declare and initialize any variables we wish to use. This section will run one time at the beginning of the loop. Next, we have the conditional which must be supplied. This conditional will be evaluated before every iteration of the loop. Finally, we have the optional sections that allows us to increment or decrement any variable we would like. This section will run after every iteration of the loop. Note, this is a semicolon, not a comma that separates the different sections. Following the parentheses is the two braces and the body of the for loop. Due to its syntax, a for loop is very useful for loops that involves counting when the number of iterations is known. In this example, we can see that this loop has created a variable called I and set it to 0. This loop will run while I is less than the variable loop times, which in case equals 5. Finally, you can see after every iteration of the loop, I will increase by 1. The body of the loop, the words creating loop times number, will be printed corresponding with the value of I. It's worth noting that usually in programming, counting begins at 0 and not 1. Therefore, in this loop, the variable I starts at 0. Okay, back to code. We create one variable called I and set to 0. You can call it GetChild. Just keep in mind this variable is a local variable and will be override by other the same name of the variables when it's declared outside the for loop. This loop will run while the I is less than the card length, which in this case equals 2. Each iteration of the loop, I will increase by 1. Inside the body of the loop, I would like to iterate our card information to each card game object UI references. As we have talked in the previous video, the right side is our card detail information and the left side is our UI elements references. In Unity, the equality sign means assign E equals B, which means we assign B values to A. First, let's try to write manner_text equals cards0 dot card manner to string function and play our game to see the result. There is no any differences with our previous video because we only assign the first card information to our first card game object. We have to declare all of the card game objects. Here, we declare array in a similar way to declaring card type variable. After declaring the game object type, we use open and close square brackets. Then, we name them as game cards. Inside the body of the loop, let's try to change the left side. Because now this part is not only first card game object, it should be two card game objects. In other words, in the left side should be the card game object array. Each card game object UI references should type in here. So we have to access each UI references properties by C# script. We set the name text as an example. We have to access and assign the manner text property. We have to get the card game object. Then we want to get its manner object. Then select its child manner text, get his component text and change its text property. we have to use C# script to organize our 4 steps. So write game cards, open brackets, I, close brackets means each card game objects in this array. Then dot transform to access each attached card game objects. Then we want to find certain game objects from its children. In here, there are several ways to access the game object. Now we use transform.Find object name. Transform.Find can find a child by their name and returns it. Then use GetChild 0 to return a transform child by index 0. Then we can access our ManaText UI game object GetComponent and dot text to access or edit the message displayed in text. Then we can use the same routine to type another following lines. Now we can use transform.Find to find any game objects by their names. Later, we'll introduce many other accessing methods. For now, let's continue to use this method to write down another lines. We want to assign the correct information to our attack. Here's UI parts, our description board and name board UI text part. Then, in terms of the UI image, don't forget to use Image.sprite, returns the source sprite of an image. If I save this script and switch back, drag the 2 card game objects to our card game objects array. If we enter the play mode, we can see that there are 2 different cards appears in our card. Each card has their unique information, which is added corresponding with our custom class on the right inspector. That's so cool. As I mentioned, using transform.Find might not be the best methods, and in many big games, if your teammates rename the game object, your code will no longer to work. So in later, I will recommend several other methods to solve these problems. This tutorial is aimed for beginner, and these methods can help you easy to understand how to access the game object elements by using C#. Up to now, actually, we can delete many UI references from our codes. In the certain episode, I will try to refactor our cards later. Just keep in mind we start using 1 different ways to edit our cards now. Great, this is the end of this video. We have added the background image to our card and to make 1 flexible function to create more than 1 card. In the next episode, I'm going to add the card class and change the card background color to according to our card class. In the episode 5 or 6, I will add more elements to our class and our panel. Finally, you will receive 1 great gallery system including some search engine and 10-page functions in your game. 1 gallery system can be used in many projects you are working on. Alright, thanks for watching this tutorial. All resources and credits has attached in the description box. If you enjoyed this video, hope smash the likes and subscribe button. Alright, see you in the next time.